Hi guys, welcome to the Forensics Detailing channel. I'm here with Bert Yule and Ian Seeley from Pro Detailers magazine, and we're going to show you a live video of how we go about preparing our mega tests. So Bert, what are we doing in this mega test?
So we've decided that we're going to be doing glass sealants, and we've wanted to test a broad range of sealants. So this is including the proper kind of hardcore ceramic ones that a detailer might put on, but also the ones you can buy over the counter and are designed to be quick kind of spray and wipe on sealants.
Yeah, so we've got a broad field here, and we've had some discussions about how we're going to test this, because that's the key thing, isn't it? Like what we actually do and how do we make it fair, and how do we do a test that's going to adequately go through these products and give us the best product. And what is the best product? What does it need to do?
Well, actually, there's a key to this, and that is that the best product will be different depending on the user. Because a detailer with a perfect unit all the time in the world to apply a coating that's going to last forever and ever, that might suit them best because it's going to work for their customers and to be profitable.
Yeah.
But for the likes of normal people who haven't got that facility, normal in brackets, they just want something that's quick and easy to put on.
Yeah.
So,
as usual, this isn't about finding a winner. This is about finding the best for certain categories and letting the end user pick what suits their bracket best.
exactly.
Yeah. So all of the little tests have to kind of cover everything that you might want from a glass sealant. Some people might want durability. Some people might want something that's really easy to apply and just idiot proof.
Some they can just put on every 3 months and they don't care how long it lasts.
Yeah, and some might want it to take 30 seconds to spray on, wipe, I'm done.
Yeah.
Others might be really fussy about what it looks like and if you can see any haze or if it affects the wiper blades. So these are things we've got to kind of test. So we'll go into that in a second. Before we do, I just want to give you the lineup because that's really important. So you can see a load of products on here. We want to make a test that's interesting and it has products that you've heard of. So this is our lineup. First up, we've got Labo Cosmetica Aqua Velox. Now that's not a coating, is it?
It is a glass coat. It describes itself as a glass coat.
But it's not like a ceramic in a glass bottle, if you know what I mean.
More like a sealant,
yeah. So I don't know anything about that product, so I'll be interested to see if that falls into the professional category where it can compete with the ceramic coatings on durability, or if it's somewhere in between where it's reasonably easy to use but gives you some of the advantages.
Well, Labo Cosmetica pitched this, I think, very much as a prosumer/professional.
Yeah.
So if you're happy to pay a little bit of a premium for a quality product, that's very much where they come into. And a lot of professionals, that's what they're targeting as well. So it's an interesting one.
What's the lifetime on it?
It's more instructions on the back rather than claims, I noticed. It's got a shelf life of 5 years.
That's good as well.
Which is effective,
yeah. Because some of them are 6 months, I think, and
and it's 2-layer.
And they can claim that they last over a year. So if you're a guy at home, you use it, and then when you go to use it again, it's no good. Yeah. So that's the first one. The next one is probably a really consumer favourite, isn't it? Rain-X. That's what everyone tends to use, or it's big in America, isn't it? Or big in Europe?
It's big everywhere. I remember I first used this when a stone went through my windshield in a Peugeot 306, and I asked the auto glass guy what they use, and he said he used the Rain-X cleaner and the Rain-X sealant on everything that he did. And at that point I thought, well, that's a bit of insider information. This is 2004, so it's a long, long time ago, when I was young and wild. I've used it repeatedly, and I have to admit, it did always work from memory, but it didn't have the wow factor. And bear in mind, this is probably a new formulation, but it certainly didn't have the wow factor of more modern, trendy, boutique-y sort of sealants.
And it didn't offer any protection when the tree came through the window either.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was attacked by the tree, it was troublesome.
So it's less a detailing scene-y one and more a widespread consumer one, but
it's the sort of thing my dad used to use all the time.
But it must work if it's been out there for nearly 20 years or even longer.
It's true. Has it improved?
Yeah, and there's work and work.
How good does it compare? Because some people think, oh, Rain-X is all you need and that's it. And the detailing scene kind of is a bit more glamorous. But can actually compete? Because you get a ton of it as well.
We're loads more glamorous, John. Yeah, yeah. And again, we'll be looking at price and costings and everything, but certainly, I mean, just as a small example, you get 200mm here, and then this one is probably 100. Yeah. If that yet is 100mm.
I'd categorise Rain-X as sort of the super resin polish of the glass sealant world. You know, it does something. Is there a better product out there? I suspect so, but we'll find out.
Yeah. So the next one we've got is invisible glass.
This one here. So
I just call that glass personally.
Yeah. I couldn't find it.
Well, invisible glass has got. I mean, we tested their glass cleaner because it's a company's called Stoners, and their cleaner was pretty good, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
It was different from others.
Yeah. And Stone stuff is massively rated out in the States as well.
Yes, it wasn't as boozy, I remember, but it worked well, their glass cleaner. A few people picked it. It's decent stuff for the price, you know.
And I think this is going to major on usability. It can be applied at temperatures down to 4 degrees, or for the Americans, 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's really interesting, isn't it? We need to make a note of that when we do our product specs.
It is. What's also
requirements
fascinating. Also, it's looking at just on the surface of it, the hazard awareness. So this is H225, which is highly flammable. So I can't remember the exact thresholds, but you have flammable and highly flammable. Flammable stuff, I think, if you heat it up to 60 degrees, something like that, it can combust. 80 degrees, so really quite hot. But highly flammable, I think, can combust at a lower temperature.
Point.
The flash point is a lot lower. So
no
this one.
Smoking when you're spraying it on your window.
Well, I was about to say maybe we mix it with a little bit of mango.
We're going to try that.
And we got Friday night sorted.
If it happens to be below 4 degrees at the time, then just set a light to it as it goes on. That solves both issues.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
We may end up dying in this.
I was about to say we're taking a very professional approach to this, but so that's
As
another
always.
consumer product for the Americans.
Yeah. The next one we've got is this one, Infinity Wax Diamond Vision. So I've not used it, I've not heard anything about it, but Infinity Wax do some decent products. It looks crystal clear to me. You look like you get a ton of it.
Yeah.
You like the Spotless Vision stuff in the last one, didn't you?
Yeah, Spotless Plus. So we use Spotless Plus. You'll find it in issue 16. We tested it 50-50 on a car. It's hilarious because I put it on half the screen inside and out, and it's still doing it now on the old Outback, and half of it beads and the other half doesn't. And so longevity, because that was a cleaner and a sealant, which is something we have omitted from here. We're just looking at dedicated sealants, which is, I think, key, because frankly, testing cleaning and sealing power, we're in danger of diluting our analysis. But I suspect, and Michael's probably going to correct me on this, but the kind of the tech in this is probably a more concentrated form of the tech in their cleaner sealant. So it'd be fascinating to see how this goes, and I think this is a bit of a value king as well. Yeah,
we'll talk about that later on. Yeah. So we've obviously got to do prices and price per amount. So that's the Diamond Vision from Infinity Wax. The next one is the Soft 99. Now we're going to clarify with Soft 99 which one they want in the test, because I think they want the DX in the test, but I think the Ultra is probably going to do better because it's going to last longer. 4 months durability versus 12 months. So we'll speak to them, but if they want to put DX in there, then they go with DX. Yeah,
well, we had a bit of a thought on that. They've been pushing it very hard. We think it's more likely to be an environmental, non-PTFE environmental element to it. We think also, being the latest development, it might be a little bit more hydrophobic, possibly.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. So there's not much in that.
No.
So they could, durability is going to be a really important
metric.
Yeah. Like the one that lasts longest. I think loads of people will just go, give me the one that lasts the longest.
I don't know, you see. I think there'll be lots of people who'll be happy to apply when they're doing their normal wash of their car and they want something super hydrophobic that starts beading off at 5 miles an hour.
I mean, yeah, definitely. If you've got one that's really easy to apply and doesn't need massive prep and it gives you good results, that would be great. But I think, a lot of people will be interested in the one that lasts the longest, though. It's a bit like whenever I'm testing waxes. People are always going on durability, and I think we'll see though. So we'll clarify, but it'll either be DX or Ultra, probably DX from Soft 99. So that's the next one. The next one after that is G-Technic.
There we go.
Smart Glass.
We've debagged it already.
Yeah, that's a prep.
That's a prep here. So Smart Glass is two little things here, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if this is a ceramic coating or if it's like a ceramic coating, but we wanted to get a couple of kind of iconic ones that are used in the professional detailing scene that have been around for a while, established. This is well regarded. So that's one of our ceramic type ones, even if it's not a proper ceramic or whatever. I don't know that.
Well, what's fascinating is it says it lasts up to 20,000 miles, and I have to admit I approve of the durability given in miles, because it's all very well saying, you know, it'll last for 5 years,
Yeah.
but if you put your car in a garage and don't touch it for 5 years, of course it is, but 20,000 miles, you can't do those by accident.
Yeah.
And they're going to be more consistent. And although obviously it's little tiny bottles, technically, if it lasts a long time, and this is sufficient to do at least a couple of cars,
Yeah.
the value statement could still be there.
That,
And this
I'm really
isn't
interested to
expensive either.
see how long it lasts,
Mm.
because that's what you kind of feel like with these modern brands, that they're raising the bar, and you get a smaller amount of product. It costs a bit more, but then you're supposed to get in return this very good level of performance, perhaps with a little bit more considered preparation. You know, so does that deliver what we want from it? You have to get the prep right, but if you do, it's going to outperform the others. That's my kind of expectation.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk about prep, aren't we, and about consistency versus manufacturer guidelines. And this is a really interesting topic, because on the one hand, we want to do the prep exactly the same for everything to make it a fair test. On the other hand, some manufacturers say here, yeah, just clean your glass and squirt and go.
Yeah.
Whereas other ones, we've been supplied by Soft 99, the compound, which we both really like as a product. We've got the G4 glass polish as well for G-Tech. So what do we do?
Yeah.
That's going to be
We
something
have
we
to
think
be
about.
consistent. We have to, because if we go from one piece of glass that's got a glass sealant on it to following the instructions for a product that doesn't say to abrade it off, we're effectively putting on top of the old one. So we need to blank canvas every time, just like if we're testing a wax. So we have to blank canvas, and we need to think about how we do that in a fair way, so that we know we've got glass and nothing else on there. So that's really important, actually. So I'll make a little note of that, blank canvas.
That's a good term. What have we got next on the list? We've got
So-
CarPro.
Yeah, next, another ceramic coating, CarPro Flyby Forte. So I've never used this.
This is really interesting because the previous reissue of Flyby Forte used to have to heat the windscreen up to about 80 degrees, I think
Really?
they recommended, and then suddenly that disappeared from the instructions. I think after they realised that nobody was going to do that.
Yeah.
So I want to have a chat with
RV or Gordon?
probably Gordon, actually, see if we can send a message and just see if that's still sort of part of the official recommendations for professional application or not, and why it was taken off.
So it likes heat.
I think it's just an activation step.
So we've got the new version 2021. So newish, I think is probably how we would amend that.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. It comes again with applicator.
So you're
and
still
the
living in
stickers.
1995, so that is quite new.
1995 is a great year.
I wonder, because I had a chip field recently, and they put the hard resin in, they put the soft resin in at the top. And they
Gavin's
put-
special resin.
Yeah. They put the UV light on it to cure it. And I'm wondering if that, if you don't do that, it takes a long time to cure. So maybe that's that.
Well, those are photoreactive. It's a little bit like having UV clear coats, as in UV reactive clear coats, where they use a specific wavelength of UV light to activate the curing.
Oh, that's a bit
But,
different. than
but again,
potentially.
that's something I'm surprised isn't brought in more to these sort of coatings.
Yeah.
Well, having poked Charlie at the whole 2021 thing, it says new fluorine based, so that's interesting. Water repellent
Put your
material
gloves on.
with higher concentration, no licking. Key features: no need for glass polishing. It says no need glass polishing, but I'm going to add some grammar in here. No need for glass polishing. Improved wipers abrasion resistance. And stronger bonding with glass. Faster beading effect.
See, to me, how can you say no need for glass polishing if you go to put that on a glass and you can see all that white film dots, scummy stuff? You clay it or you wash it, and it's still there.
That doesn't
You're
make no
going on
sense.
top of it, aren't you? You
Yeah.
need a crystal clear, completely product-free.
Virgin surface.
Yeah.
But again, from the point of view of Megatest, do we test this and say, right, we're going to get a crappy screen and just give it a wash, no polishing, and
Well-
stick it on? Or do we, and I think the latter is the case, is that we do a blank canvas, as you said, for everything, regardless. But we don't want to, certainly with this claim, for example, you can put it on glass that hasn't been polished. Do we need to, are we aiming to be able to yay or nay that claim? Is that an issue? Or are we simply saying, right, what is the best product?
I'd be really interested to put that on a glass that you can see when you're inside, and you put the wipers on and it's got all dots and stuff all over it, and
Yeah.
footprints. If you just wash it and put that on, you'll still see those dots, in my opinion, unless it's unless the carrier in it is so strong it eats all that away, and But no, it can't be that clever. So that's interesting. That might just be a little slip up. But I don't know.
That's something we can clarify with them before we get
come
print.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the Car Pro Fly-by-40. The next one is the Dodo Juice Max Pain, where you do get a ton of it, don't you?
You get a lot of it, and it obviously alludes another Dodo Juice name. Alludes to the computer game that when I used to play computer games in the 90s, I used to play Max Payne. It's brilliant. I think this is again value, ease of use is the main thing here. And looking, they actually claim 4 months plus.
It's got a durability on it, is it?
Yeah.
So we're going to look at all of those durability claims where they're there.
And actually, checking this out, I love these new logos. They've got 4 months durability, tint safe, which is an interesting point. Plastic and glass. So
Sure, that's just not a northern thing.
for your race car.
Yeah, is it safe? No, tint safe.
Tint safe.
Yeah.
And apparently this will do 20 to 30 cars.
Yeah, I mean, that is the most you get out of any of these products for your money. So you get a ton.
We shouldn't smell products because
It smells of
highly
apple.
poisonous.
It's nice. Does it have a shelf life?
Right, for multilingual safety, no. Ooh, it's one of these peel back ones, so I always break a nail. Here we go. Ooh, well, hang on, I'll tell you in Korea. No, I won't. So, clean window, spray light coat, bloody-da, dangerous smearing, water runoff from 30 miles an hour up. No, nothing that I can immediately. Here we go. Here we go. Keep away from food. Don't drink it with animals' feedstuffs.
See, that's quite interesting that they always quote these beading things based on speed and not based on the angle of the windscreen in the first place, because you're beading on a sort of a Series 3 or a Defender or something like that that's got a 90-degree screen effectively.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot different from a 360 or something.
Yeah, but Defender never makes it over 30 miles an hour anyway.
Well, we're going to be testing hydrophobicity as well, aren't we?
Yeah,
That's
how
another...
can we do that? Because I've seen your videos, John, where you're basically holding a camera and driving your shitbox BMWs and seeing it all go everywhere, and you're like, "Oh, look at this!" And we're just basically seeing blurry pictures of windscreens.
You had to get the BMW insulting.
Well, I was going to say that we could. I mean, I've got proper Subaru, so we could actually do testing.
Proper
up to,
Subaru, it
you know,
won't start. We won't be able to get it to 30 miles an hour.
It starts fine.
I'm just impressed he's got a proper Subaru at last.
Yeah, I thought, what happened to the last one?
I've got
Last
two.
three.
Last
No.
three.
I've got that's irrelevant. We're getting off topic here. But either way, some real world testing. What we've done traditionally is a mixture of scientific lab style testing with instruments, and we've got some fun stuff that you'll mention shortly from our friends at Road Point.
You just give me a great idea though,
Oh God,
because we could have a test panel of glass,
yeah,
a fixed fan,
yeah,
same distance, and then adjust.
just the angle.
Yeah, rather than and that's more going to give us.
That's what I bought the inclinometer for just now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd already thought of it. That's sharp. So there we go. That's we'll get to that in a second. So that's Dodo Juice Max Pain. The next one, Bert, do you want to do that?
Duck's back. So no, Ian's going to do this one because he's the one you volunteered this, didn't you?
So this is called
Me?
Duck's
Yeah.
Back.
You got excited about Duck's back.
I've never been excited about Duck's Back. I just said it
That's
existed.
not what they said.
It's
Halfords used to apply this in their service centres. It was kind of an upsell thing. I know because a friend of mine used to work for Halfords briefly. Well, I say briefly for a very good reason.
You say friend.
I say friend as well. But
This has been around for donkey's years.
It's been around for absolutely ages. And to be fair, he did actually rate the stuff. He just didn't rate the price that they charged to apply it.
Ooh.
It comes with
It
like
wasn't cheap,
suppository
I don't think.
tampons. Things.
That's an applicator. Yeah.
I know it's an applicator. In fact, you get two.
No,
of
the
them.
fact.
Oh,
hang
it's
on,
built
hang on.
in.
Can we just take apart suppository tampons for a minute? Because I don't think you understand how biology works.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, guys. It's a family-friendly channel. I apologise for Bert.
It can be family friendly. You've got two here. It's fun for all the family. I've never seen an applicator like that before. Have you?
No.
So
I say I've never used it before. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to jump the gun, but I
Let's have
presume
a look.
you crack it. I think you don't crack it because then we'll lose the stuff. But I think you're supposed to crack it.
So
it's got the liquid in there.
Yeah. Hence I'm
That's
shaking
clever,
this
that
here.
is,
I'm
to
not
be
just
fair.
waving them around for.
Oh, I just thought it was a fancy thing. You dip it
Yeah.
in.
And-
So there's no bottle of product.
No. There's literally we have two of these things, and with an emergency response number on, for the Americans.
Oh, pronounce the German on that towelette tape thing.
The Voringa Voringa Stuck.
Yeah.
How would you pronounce it?
I wouldn't.
You were trying to lead me into saying something naughty, weren't you? I bet you were. Right. Here
Just
we
want
go.
to re-emphasise that's not a sanitary device, guys.
Yeah. No, don't shove it up there.
Although the water repellency, no, it's not going that.
just if you need water repellency, just have a curry. So
That's duck's back. So that's interesting because that's given us something unique.
it claims here see more when it pours. It's TUV approved, which shouldn't be sniffed at. That's quite significant. Interesting.
What's
here.
TUV?
TUV. It's the German kind of quality mark.
ISO, right?
Yeah, which means basically if you modify your car and then drive to Germany and you don't get TUV, you can get in trouble. But what's interesting here. It says abrasion resistant, resistant to detergents and salt and antifreeze, reduction of ice adhesion.
What's durability claim? How could it be abrasion? Well, okay, abrasion resistant, but that doesn't mean you can't take it off.
Up to 12 months.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's probably, as far as I'm concerned, if any glass sealant can get beyond 12 months, it's doing bloody well.
Well, it says here will last 6 months on the front screen and 12 months on the side or rear glass.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit of a stand down now.
Yeah,
but fair
because
enough.
they last forever on the side glass, don't they? Yeah, the front is because the windscreen wiper ends up taking it off, doesn't it? As it's going it ends up stripping it. So that's the front windscreen is the key durability thing to test. The next one, an old favourite, Angel Wax H2Go, is it?
Mm-hmm.
H2Go.
Do you want to say something about Angel Wax?
Angel Wax based in deepest Scotland.
Right near Glasgow Airport now,
It is. They say it's a short walk from Glasgow Airport. It's not. It's a good 15 minutes and then 25 if you get lost. Like
it's not short enough.
But here, God, they've got very little writing on this. The thing is, it's they're so young and vigorous, so they can read writing like that. Can you read that? I can't actually read that.
So you give it to the guy that's actively wearing glasses.
Yeah, but you're much younger than me.
H2Go Ultimate Rain Pelt has been designed to contend with the wettest weather this planet has to offer. So Scotland.
Yeah, basically starting a fight. Anything to start a fight with.
It repels thrown kebabs and
what about blood?
Tenants extra.
We're losing all the Scottish viewers here, guys.
They're not losing. They're on their way
the views
in
are
now.
just dipping now.
with knives, axes, and skirts.
There you go. They will start to simply bead and roll off at speeds as low as 20 miles an hour. So
that's
have
a
that.
claim. That is
20 miles an hour.
There'll be one that says stationary.
But to be fair, you've also got to contend with the 120 mile an hour winds. They actually tested this in the Orkneys, so they had a little bit going for it. So technically that's 140 miles an hour you've got to be going. But interesting claim. We will test that.
Yeah, speed claims. The problem is they won't all have it, will they?
And made in Scotland as well.
It's the second best name, I think, after Max Payne.
H2Go. It's a good one. I've used that one. Interested to see how it compares. I know it's very beady, it is very hydrophobic.
Very beady, like your favourite witch doctor.
Yeah. So that's good. I've got reasonably high expectations for this. Some of these other ones, I just got no idea how they're going to perform. But if you've used them before, you kind of know what you're going to get. Next one, Geon Quick View. So.
Okay, so I'm loving the packaging on this for a start.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something while I figure out how to open it without damaging it prior to photography?
This is one of the ones that it's not ceramic coating. It comes with a applicator with a felt tip, so you can take the lid off and you're good to apply. You don't have to use any microfiber things that you throw away or whatever.
Gion have been doing a lot of this ease of application thing. They bought the wax Pritt stick thing earlier last year, and that's really good. And I've been waiting for that to come out for about 12 years now. Someone's finally done it.
It's good if you can do something different. If you can create a USP.
Anything that makes it easier to use.
Yeah.
Have you managed to do it yet?
Yeah, I've unpacked it. I didn't know. Ooh, okay, so that's very.
I thought it was going to be one of those spring snake things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again,
grab to it.
Is it going to be able to compete with the ceramics? Is it going to be able to compete with the ones that we think might last the longest? It's a bit of a blank. It's an unknown.
I mean, let's face it. On looks alone, you'd expect that to be competing with Soft 99 because on looks alone, that's kind of the same design they've gone down with it. So
it's that built-in applicator, which is good. It is good because you just basically grab it and apply it, and you've got everything you need apart from the buffing cloths. But pretty cool. So that's the Geon Quick View. And the next one is the one we haven't got the bottle here, but we've got the product. It's Nanolex Ultra, is it?
Ultra Glass. So we're over in Germany, as you'll know when you listen to our podcast and read our magazines. And we were talking to Florian, and he's been doing a glass sealant that's been around for yonks and is highly
Ultra
respected.
is very highly rated.
Yeah,
First of all, it's a bit trickier to apply correctly, but by all accounts, one of the top ones out in the market.
Well, it's going to be the ones sort of competing in this sort of territory. These are, when you say Nanolex, you're also thinking Car Pro, G-Technic, not so much Rain-X. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see which of these excel in which direction.
So that is our lineup. 12 products, different field. Ones where you get tiny amounts, 2 applications. That's got to be the Duxback has to be the lowest usage one out there, perhaps with the G-Technic.
But again, it's for the dealer market. So when you get new car protection products from the dealer, you get a bag with stuff for basically protecting the car once and maybe some maintenance.
Yeah, and then we've got the full contrast where you get half a litre of the stuff. That's probably enough to do your glass 20 times.
It says up to 30.
30 times.
Yeah.
So you can have very low cost per use. So we're going to have all this different data on prices, durability, and then once we've got all that, we're going to start testing, which is what I want to talk about now. So price of the product, price per 100 mil, or we could even do cost per application.
I think that would be more sensible.
Well. Yeah, cost per application.
And then again, we'll need to see which ones might require more products when it comes to an application. And metering that out.
So if we could do all 3 of these because it won't take a second. So price per 100 mil, and then price per application based on how much we think you need to use.
That is going to be very dependent on the vehicle you're applying it to, though.
But if that's kept consistent,
it is.
I mean, something like this, you're going to be spraying liberally. Whereas something like that, you're going to be very carefully putting it on bit by bit, aren't you? So this is going to be literally
almost trying to take it down to a cost per square metre application.
Yeah.
Which is going to be an interesting one to try and work out.
That's because also one squirt is a bit of a
I think you could do cost per windscreen would be good.
We'll take an average windscreen. What's an average windscreen? A Dacia Duster. Do we know anyone with a Dacia Duster?
Yeah, there's one next door. I can rob it. They're old. They won't notice.
Yeah.
So we could do those. Product specifications section, which isn't something we're necessarily going to be marking on, but we're going to be looking
and
commenting.
Part of the intro.
Yeah. So for each product, we look at the health and safety claims, claim durability, quality of the packaging. There are variances, aren't there?
Well, I want to see which one's the most flammable. We've got a lot of flammable signs. It's not often I get to play with flammable stuff after last time, so that'd be interesting.
We're going to look at application methods because that will be a preference for some people. Temperature requirements, durability claims, I covered that. Shelf life of product, speed claims because some of them are claiming like active at 20 miles an hour and all that.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
the water runoff angle, and that's something we can do a test on the similar to how we do with the waxes and everything on an angle bench.
Yeah.
Broadly speaking, we've got 3 metrics, haven't we? We've got cost/value, and they are different things, and value is obviously what we should really be looking at. We've got performance, and then we've got ease of use. And ease of use would encompass, requirements for the environmental variables and level of prep.
So we have to. So we'll be ranking and using the price as a ranked criteria, won't we? That value. So that will be something that's very important. But ease of application is going to be something that they're going to be marked on, if you like, isn't it?
Yeah, and then any readers who are reading through the article and they say, okay, well, look, we think that, say, product X is actually the longest lasting and best performing, but it's an absolute task to put on. And then reader might go for that. Another reader might go, well, look, I'm skint, I ain't going to be spending 30 quid on a glass sealant, so they're going to go for the value contender. And then there'll be another bloke who says, I'm just very lazy, I just want something easy to squirt on twice or a year, and they'll pick a different product. So
we're going to get that. But when we do ease of application, we're going to have to cover, do instructions say full prep?
Yep.
Full prep required. And is that a bonus if they don't? Because you don't have to full prep them, or do we penalise them because we think you should full prep them?
Well,
that's where it can get
bigger
complicated.
Problem is that, say with this, which says you don't need very much prep, because in the testing we're going to blank canvas, so it's going to get a lot of prep. If this does very, very well with a full prep, can we really say that we think it would do just as well with less prep? I don't think so.
I think for the sake of this, we have to assume that people are going to do a minimum amount of prep to their windscreens. If someone's just going to go on there and paste it over an oily, dirty windscreen, then they haven't got a hope in hell of getting the best out of any of these products. Doing it on a blank canvas, assuming people are going to use a baseline of prep, I'd say down to a minimum of a quick polish.
Yeah.
So I don't think if we do it by hand polishing, that's good because that opens up to everyone.
What you're saying is basically our aim is to test these products working at their best, and if we don't, and say, well, let's try and factor in. If we don't work to that principle, we say, look, this one says don't do any prep. we are totally skewing our results, cutting off our noses to spite
And at the end
our
of the day,
face.
that is not something that these companies can control.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we're trying to take the human element out of the testing.
Yeah.
So by giving ourselves a virgin surface
Yeah.
and saying to everyone, right, well, you need to do a minimum amount of prep to achieve these results. If you don't do that, then it's not the product at fault, it's you.
Yeah. Okay, so I totally agree with that.
That's nice.
Blank
At
canvas.
least been agreed with.
Well, someone won't. Someone will watch him and go, "No, you should follow the manufacturing instructions," which we understand, but we've just discussed it. You know, it will just throw the test and make it all meaningless if we.
I mean, maybe. So we've got the scientific testing, where we've got the baseline, where we've got glass polish, and incidentally we've got a new glass polish in from 3D alongside the various others. So this could be 3D's not in this test.
Yeah,
Otherwise it might be a good universal one to do.
If it doesn't leave anything behind.
Well, we'd also follow it up with a panel
wipe
wipe
down.
Yeah, we've got a wide selection.
Anything we can blank canvas with, and it is good. In fact, that it.
We saw it running with Mike Phillips, and he did it on my car as a demo, and it is the first glass polish that I've seen.
Does it smell of silver caps?
Yeah, first glass polish I've seen that really makes a difference. So we've got that, but what I was thinking is we've got the scientific / lab testing, where we've got all this rig that we're buying up. We'll talk about that in a bit. But also, I'm guessing it would be very sensible for us to divide and conquer and slap them on our own motor cars. Perhaps we do that as instructed by the manufacturer. So if they do say just squirt, wipe and go, then we do that. And then at least we can say in the subjective testing, on a vehicle, and there'll be all sorts of arguments like where on the windscreen do you put it? If you split your windscreen vertically down, does the middle get more abrasion than the sides, etc., etc.? So we can't take it as seriously as scientific.
Yeah, there's some dangers with doing that. There's some benefits with doing it. The dangers are, say if you put it on and you get wiper judder with one, for example, and then you don't. If you'd have swapped the two around, the wiper judder might stay on this side with the car because it's got old stiff rubber blades and they're just juddering. So it's an inconsistent test. Yes, and what's if we don't full prep? It depends on what's on there. So you might go and test it on your Subaru, which doesn't get detailed.
No.
So it's probably just
all that aspect of the test is going to be is opinion related, though. We've got the scientific, more scientific, I should say, rig going up to make sure that it can be objectively tested.
Yeah.
If we just take them out there, stick say 2 or 3 on our windscreens, report back and say actually in the real world this one was trash, we can actually look and see why that particular one might have suffered.
I know this is going to be a bloody problem. Forgive my French.
Well, we can just have our own nominated favourites. I mean, it's one thing with mega testing. I've always had this problem where we've had some that in the lab they are the best products, and it could be that they've achieved that by being good in every category but not sensational.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there are some products that are for a particular purpose really good, but because they're not necessarily great in other areas, they fall by the wayside. I'll give you an example in glass terminology. Was the Angel Wax glass cleaner. So that was packed full of ammonia, so it stank to high heaven. There are some things it didn't do, but if you
cleans well, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you had murdered bugs on your windscreen, it was better than everything else that there was there. Because it was such a one-trick pony, much more rounded products came in and ended up taking the prize. So I think there is definitely a realm. Maybe we just have our personal favourites of the three of us, and we just say why we think it is better.
Or we take our top 3 at the end of all the metric-based testing and
on
just
our screens and
give them a go and just see what they're like
we
in
do
the real
need to
world.
apply them all though. Outside of all this testing, we need to get them onto windscreens.
Yeah,
as
we've
well.
got to do real world.
And they're never going to be the same. We can't use one car because then we're in a blank canvas scenario before we put the other one on.
Well, thankfully, you haven't sort of seen the light yet and bought the same car as me. So you've got BMW, you've got a
4
Mercedes.
cars I can test on. So if we need 4 each.
Well, I've got 7, but only 2 of them work. So we'll
You can do the static test.
yeah. Well, I've actually already got on a van. I've got a Soft 99 already, which was from an earlier test. So we'll ignore that one. But Audi A8 and Subarus.
So that was what we were discussing there was the preparation, and so we take full prep for the lab testing. Ease of application would be time to apply, wouldn't it? If one product said you've got to wait 90
Time to
minutes
apply,
for it to
time
cure.
to cure, how easy it is to buff off. Some of these have to have a damp cloth to buff off. Some of them need to be buffed within 10 minutes and then rebuffed again. Some of them need 2 applications. There's lots of variables that go into it.
Yeah, so we want to come up with an overall way of measuring ease of application.
Well, we do weighted points. I get to do another spreadsheet, and we'll say, right, out of 10, how much is this? And we can create some threshold points. So we could say that, okay, if you need to, if it says specifically polish your glass beforehand, and it has to be at this temperature, we say, right, well, there's your threshold for those. Add it all up into a massive spreadsheet. I can create some macros that will spit out some numbers.
I'd also be quite interested to do a comparison of how long it would take you to maintain all of these coatings over a period of 2 years, because obviously some of these are single application and they'll last for 2 years,
supposedly.
But they take maybe half a day of prep to get absolutely perfect, whereas some of them you can just spray on, but if you're respraying on every 3 months, does that add up to around about the same time?
So ease of maintenance as well as ease of applying.
Yeah, kind of
time over the life of the product.
Okay. How would I write that?
Letters.
And I tend to go English.
Thank you for the tip, Bert. You're full of great ideas.
I'm always here to help.
I'll just put ease of maintenance. I'll remember it. Ease of maintaining it to get its full durability. Anything else on ease of application?
Well, do we talk about the safety at that point as well? Or is that a separate kettle of fish?
You know what? It probably does come into application because
if you get stoned off your titties when you're applying something, it's going to make life more difficult.
Yeah. That's very important.
You have to put masks on.
The older you get, the more that becomes a problem. You know, certain products can have me crying like in seconds.
Well, you're an emotional man.
I am. But you know what I mean? And or sniffing, and you suddenly smell it, and then about 3 minutes later, you're just bunged up.
So it might take 10 minutes to apply, but if you've got then to spend 3 days in hospital, overall that has to be
you get that with some detailing products. Like you can feel it in the evening after being like working on something that's really solvent heavy. Like you sort of gives you a headache.
Yeah.
You're going to say you sniff something, it takes you back to Woodstock '94.
Yeah. I was amazed when you said working.
All right, so that's it. Ease of application, price, ease of application. Now, let's talk about durability. Our durability tests. So we're going to do something quite clever here. So do you guys want to talk about what you're building? They're building something.
Yeah, we're going to put together a rig. We're going to get an extruded aluminium frame together. We've got some 5mm or 4.4mm thick laminate glass coming in from a glazing supplier. And
Are we not using the back hatch of a van?
No,
we've changed.
We're doing it
so
properly.
This is news to me. So we're actually building a test rig, guys.
Yeah, we're building it completely from scratch because that's the only way we're going to get something that's absolutely virgin. We've got these
wiper motors.
We've got these wiper motors in, and we're going to be building 3 different rigs, or we might just do 2 rigs and then swap the painted glass over, so we can do testing on how wipers affect it over time. We've got a pump setup that's going to run to spray on windscreen cleaner or just water. We haven't quite agreed on that.
Yeah, lightly.
Water would be great, but windscreen cleaner would also add in. I mean, it might be something we can, every now and then we can just go in and physically spray windscreen cleaner on there as well, because that's another thing that's going to affect the longevity of it.
It's true.
As long as it's the same thing and it's a valid windscreen.
Yeah, we've got about 8 different add-ins, and some of them are made by these guys, some of them aren't. So we can just add that into a pool because we're going to have a kind of constantly recirculating system.
We're not going to have a means to count wiper blades, but we can choose time.
Yeah, we can. We've got this one, and there are 2 more in a bag, so that's 3.
Wait.
Boom.
It's
3.
Yeah, no,
we'll do it by time.
Yeah, well, we can count how many there are in a minute and then extrapolate fairly reliably. We're going to be using a constant power source. One of the big challenges we've got here is wiper motors use a lot of amps. So we can't just use a 12-volt battery because that'll run down pretty quick. So we need to find a consistent power system. Once we've done that...
And maybe waterproof.
And waterproof.
Quite important.
That's fun.
You could even work out a mileage durability. So if you say your average speed is 50 miles an hour or whatever, you set that to something realistic, and then how fast your wiper blades will go, you could convert our test rigs into mileage. So this one works for 25,000 miles, this one does 3,000
Well,
miles.
if you're driving in the rain the whole time.
Yeah, but just only for comparison, not so it wouldn't actually translate into what they would give, but it would be an accurate comparison for our tests.
Yeah, it'd be a comparative comparison.
Yeah.
One other thing we are going to have to do with this is basically do the test panels as double blinds. So we're going to have to coat them in one order. First, it's going to be 4 products to a panel. All be applied in one sequence, and then we're going to have to shuffle them around, flip the panel over, and run the test again, just to make sure that the position on the panel isn't affecting the outcome.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's like a
It
control.
shouldn't do,
It should, yeah.
but we're going to check it anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
all the wipers are the same, and the spring tension should be the same, but it is relying on our measurements when it comes to building the rig to being absolutely precise.
And our ability to
we're
wire
screwed then.
correctly.
Oh, wiring I'm not worried about. It's the applicator. Wiring I can do, but it's the applicator
That's the bit I'm worried about.
fitting it. That's fine. I
Um,
haven't killed anybody through my wiring in months.
So that's what we're going to do. That's going to give us a durability. The one that's, that, we'll come up with a means. We'll probably use photography because it's going to be in the magazine to show.
Yeah, video really doesn't go well in print.
Yeah,
Just a
give away
flip book.
TV.
It's just going to be that thick.
Yeah, then we shoot in 100 frames per second. It gets difficult.
But we'll use photography for the magazine and get some video footage as well for the
Yeah.
channels and stuff. Because that will show you when it's dead. You can see.
We'll get some time lapse stuff going as well because that'd be quite
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
to see. We'll be able to see a marked change over time, hopefully.
And one of the nice things is with ceramic coatings and paint protection full stop, everybody assumes that beading means that you've got protection. Whereas actually there'll be a lot of manufacturers saying that no, your paint protection, your UV protection, for example, is still there even when you haven't got beading. However, with glass sealants, because it is about the beading, that's the point.
The hydrophobicity, isn't it?
Exactly, they can jump up and down and say, well, it's still there. Well, if it's not beading, it's not adding anything. It doesn't matter if it's still there. It's like the mother-in-law of the side, it doesn't add anything.
It's like if Forensic Detailing ever released a glass sealant, it's going to be hydrophilic, and I'll say it lasts 300 years because you won't be able to tell.
Because you'll all be dead.
Well, no, because it would just look like it's not working.
Oh, that too.
Right. Okay. So durability is going to be an excellent test here. Now, this is one other thing that we just mentioned at the
Let's
start.
not build it up too much because it might not work.
Well, we'll get it to work. But
As I say, when it comes to durability,
that's going to be the biggest challenge, isn't it? Now, another thing that I want to do that we're not 100% sure we can do yet is we have spoken to Rowpoint, who have given us the bouncy light thing that you can't use on glass.
Gonophotometer.
Gonophotometer. I should know the name of it. The Rowpoint IQ. Now, I pinged him an email to ask if we could use it to take haze measurements.
That's how emails work. They ping.
It's the other way. It goes off satellites.
It's getting technical when I start doing this. Could we use it to measure haze on the surface of the glass? No. And then they said they've got an instrument that is a transparency meter for testing glass and films that go on glass. So we are going to look into, and we're going to do it, hopefully, if it's viable, putting all these sealants on glass test panels and then taking them to have them measured with this transparency meter so we can get an idea of which ones have the best optical quality, if you like, in a test scenario, and that will give us some good data. But
I'll be amazed if it picks up anything. If it does, though, that's going to be down to very, very tight margins.
Yeah,
so it's another metric to put in there. We'll have to see at the time if it's something that's going to contribute towards
buffing how you remove them can make a massive difference. So we've got to make sure that they're all applied to a test panel properly. Like if you've applied one and you can see a big patch of haziness, that probably means you've chucked it on and you've buffed it with the wrong soft cloth and it's already cured. So it has to be applied properly.
But the other thing is, just because you can see it might have lower optical performance, but that might hint at leaving greater residual solids, which gives potentially better longevity. So it might be the one with the poorest optical performance actually lasts the longest.
Probably, this is it. It can get complicated, but when you apply these glass sealants, one of the most things that can go wrong is that you over apply them and don't buff them properly, and then you get a hazy film. But it does mean you've got more film. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's probably a bad thing.
But you probably want to see through your windscreen first and foremost. That's probably
driving by touch isn't good here.
It is tricky.
You have to go to France for that.
But anyway, we're going to do this and see what happens. And hopefully that will give us a result on optical performance. We want the one that puts is the most transparent. So, and we can do that in the test. We don't know what we're going to get, so that'd be interesting. The next one is measuring hydrophobicity.
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 Okay. Well, we're going to test hydrophobicity
That's the same
as a
thing.
starting point.
It's just a derivative.
Don't talk to me about derivative. No, exactly. And we've got lots of cool ways of doing that. You've bought yourself an inclinometer.
Yes, I have. And it's going to be very similar to how we've tested water runoff in tests in the past. Literally having a sheet of glass such as we have off camera over there. I can't be bothered to reach over for it. And just raising the angle until we start to see it moving off. I was thinking just when you were talking...
We don't have to add the airflow, do we?
that's the thing. We might be able to simulate it as well.
But low roll down angle is a valid thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a metric on its own. It's not something you'd actually quote in the real world, but it does demonstrate how easily water runs off of the surface. So
contact angle has been used
by
coating manufacturers for years.
You could do what you just said is just the perfect test. Roll down angle, measure them. One with the lowest roll down angle is the most hydrophobic. You could have a fixed angle, provided they don't roll down,
and then vary wind,
and then hit them with the wind. But I think roll down angle. In theory,
if we can find
works.
a way to accurately limit a sort of stream of air going over something and actually measure the speed it's going over, I think it would be worth looking at that.
We could try.
I think it's going to be a little bit tricky for us with our basically limited mental resources to work out how to do it.
One thing with roll down angle that I found is if you're doing it manually, it's like the
I've always done it with a hydraulic lift of some sort, just so you can control it.
That's like when we did the auto glim thing. You weren't there, were you?
No. I didn't fancy going to Kent.
It's a little thing that you twist. And
well, I wouldn't go to Kent because they're in Hertfordshire.
Oh, I thought they were in Kent.
No.
Well, that's why I didn't go there.
They're in Letchworth,
Letchworth Garden City. Yeah.
I mean, that would be handy to have. We could ask.
But that's something we can quite easily make.
Mark Doherty, see if he'd lend us his twiddly diddly.
I can't remember if. Well, no, it would work, wouldn't it?
Well, that's just a screw gear. That's something that can be purchased easily enough to go onto this rig. Because we use some more of that extruded aluminium framework that we've got coming in anyway. Just build a standalone frame for that.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, we will have a rig for sale for testing glass.
Yeah, we'll have a rig. So hydrophobicity, clarity. Is there anything else?
Taste.
Tea would be a good one.
I don't think there is. Unless we're missing something here.
Well, I think. So whenever we do these mega tests, we always get halfway through it and go.
There is one we're missing.
There's
one we're missing that I think we have to do, and that's wiper judder.
Yeah. And how do we? I mean, we've got our rig, but the thing is that again, that's quite specific to the car because some cars will wipe a judder if you look at them funny.
But I think we don't use the rig because I don't think we'll be able to simulate wiper judder on the rig. I think it will just go backwards and forwards. But on a car, we can find a car that has wiper judder.
But again, how much is wiper judder down to the human element of not installing it correctly?
Well,
or an old
we're
wiper.
Going to rule, but we're going to rule that out, aren't we? So should we? I think we need to test it. I think we need to use one car and treat that car like a test rig. Blank canvas it, apply. Do we get judder? Yes or no? Next one, blank canvas it. Do we get judder? Yes or no? Because it's a big thing, isn't it? Because if you apply one of these and you've got wiper judder, people get the ump. And a lot of the time you can do something about it. You can replace your blades. You know, if you've got brittle, hard blades. This is one of the things.
To keep that consistent, we're going to have to put a new blade on for every single test as well.
We've got to think about the efficiency of this.
As long as it's new. But yeah, possibly. I mean, one thing that's really important is because these products repel water, the blade is effectively going over a drier surface. Even though that surface has lower friction, because they do, the glass sealants are low friction. Once you don't have that film of water that it glides over, you can get a bit of judder. And you can even have, if you've over-applied, the blade picking up and scraping off product. Because I've seen that before. If you over-apply them, you get a bit of product on the blades. So I think we need to do a wiper judder test.
We've got to figure out an efficient way of doing it, though. That's all I'd say. And also, there are some products. So I've had G1 applied in the past and had wiper judder for the first couple of days.
Yeah, and it goes.
But then it goes.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be doing a wiper judder test for a couple of days for each product.
Yeah, but we could just state in that it's likely that the wiper judder may go. You might be able to get rid of the wiper judder by cleaning the wiper blades and coating them with a bit of the sealant. But it's outside the scope of the test. We just say we've applied them, we've let them cure as instructed, but with bare bone prep, so we know it's consistent. And yes, there was judder when we tested it, and then we move on to the next one. So it's a pass or fail. But yeah, we could talk about the fact that.
But again, that's putting a point against a product that isn't the product's fault.
It might be, but we could state that. But yeah, I mean,
I hear you. Full stop.
It could be the nail in the coffin for a product unfairly because 9 could pass, 1 couldn't, and then the next day
with the right conditions, I can probably make any one of these products barring maybe Rain-X and the Stoners one, create wiper judder. That's just down to application. So, but it's an experiment to try if we can.
Yeah,
but if we have correct application and consistent wiper, take your point though, is that theoretically we need another wiper blade.
It might be something that's not important, but absolutely looks so important it really puts people off products when it shouldn't. Yeah, it's a strange one, but I think we need to come up with some way of doing it. I don't know, or try it and see how we get on.
Maybe we ask how important is wiper judder to people. We put it onto a boat somewhere.
The danger is they're going to say it is important, because for me it's important. I don't want my wipers judder.
Well, that's what people say when I talk about glass sealants. You know, what I'll get is 99% of people will say it's excellent, or 9 out of 10 will say it's excellent, and then one will come in and say I use this and I got horrible wiper judder.
We just get back to them. You are a moron. Change your wipers. Read the instructions and bugger off.
Well, sometimes they might not be. It might, you just don't know. Like, if 9 people have used it, no problems, are they just not worried about the judder, or it's gone away? Or is this one person really like sensitive to anything and they're really looking out for it?
Or that could be their car.
Yeah, it could be their car, it could be their blades, or is it a genuine problem with the product? And it's impossible to say, or is it misapplied, you know?
Well, we'll put a pin in that one. We'll come back to it maybe when we do the test and just see how easy it is to pick up, and if there's anything simple, maybe in a tip section, what you can do to sort it.
And it might well be our subjective. You know, when we put some on our own cars and just happen to look, in this circumstance, this one juddered and this one didn't. And
I find it's older cars that tend to, with springs where there's not quite as much force. New cars with modern blades. Funny enough, the Porsche, I've just got the new Porsche.
I was wondering how long it would take you to drop that in. What Porsche have you got?
A 996, an old one, but it's nice.
It was good of you to take the cap and the hat off before, and the coat off before you got here. And he's got a Porsche t-shirt on underneath that t-shirt.
Porsche underpants.
Yeah. Hang on, didn't you turn up in that sales rep car?
I don't drive a Subaru, but...
Sales are
the
too
Porsche
successful
one,
for
the
Subaru.
Porsche one's quite prone to doing it, actually, because it's totally different blades from the other cars.
Like the aero blades.
Yeah, really thin kind of blades.
So they haven't actually got a their springs all down there, whereas these ones are double sprung effectively up on the blade.
Well, I've got old cars, so we can test it there. Although mine are almost all converted to aero blades, but retrofit ones.
Yeah.
So they're not as good as the standard. They're certainly not as good as modern ones.
Okay, so guys, we're going to wrap this up now. So you get an idea of the planning we're doing. We're going to carry on now discussing, formulating, and going down the pub. And till we've got a good plan, and then we'll probably construct it, and then we'll come back once everything's done, and we'll film it, and then we'll give you the results in Pro Detailers. What copy?
Well, all of the copies, as long as it's issue 17.
Issue 17 of Pro Detailers. So testing like this, it's the only place it happens.
It's the only one stupid enough to do it.
We are.
We're only 25
this is
years
crazy.
old.
We've been doing this for like 7 years, haven't it? Since
8.
That's how long I've known you. When you
well,
first
we've been
turned
doing
up.
it 8 years total. And we were in our 20s. Well, you weren't, but we were in our 20s when that happened.
What? No, I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
No. You're not in your. How old are you?
37.
No.
Yes.
No, you're not.
No, really, I am.
Are you?
Yeah, tis a fact.
I thought he was about 45. Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time, but you still got that Audi A8.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them.
And they get crazier and crazier and crazier. And this one, I think we're really going to town on it, because the amount of effort required to do this properly is massive. We could blag it. We could get a car and whack them on, blag it, and say this one's the best, that's the one's the best. Take 5 minutes. And present
we're
it
not
well.
social influencers, so we don't do that.
Oh, thanks. Blow to the roof. But the point is, we're not blagging it. We're going to be doing a massive amount of work for an article that, you know...
is very niche.
It's very niche. It's a crazy amount of work, but that's part of the passion, isn't it? Part of the passion is doing it.
We'd like to thank both of our viewers for watching this video.
I really thank my mum, actually.
Oh, okay.
I thought you'd thank yours.
The end result of this is going to be that anyone that reads the article, you want to know about all these products, exactly what we think of them, putting them through the mill, you're going to know. So, Pro Detailers Magazine, issue 17. Check out the description. If you don't subscribe to that magazine, you're wasting your time.
We'll be on the street.
You've got to be subscribing to that, because some of these mega tests you've done are phenomenal. So, thanks, guys. And Dabby Dolzy.